Doggedness and determination are the hallmarks of the restoration of the Wendover Canal, conducted over the last quarter of a century by teams of hard-working volunteers, with the vision of creating an environmentally friendly leisure area close to rapidly expanding urban developments. The story of the canal goes back nearly 230 years, to a time when inland waterways formed vital links between communities and industries, with boats towed by horses carrying raw materials, as well as luggage and post. The UK was the first country to develop a nationwide canal network, which at one point was nearly 4,000 miles in length. One of the most important of these canals is the Grand Union Canal, linking London to the Midlands. It was this canal that prompted the construction of the Wendover Canal to provide spring water to the Tring summit to keep the locks supplied. The canal, which starts in Wendover, is in fact a rare chalk stream. It runs for nearly 7 miles through the villages of Halton, Weston Turville, Buckland, Drayton Beecham and Little Tring, joining the Grand Union Canal at Bulbourne Junction, near Tring. It opened first in 1797 and was successful for more than 100 years, but finally closed for navigation in 1904 because of constant problems with leakage. Although water continues to be supplied to the Grand Union Canal's summit level via an underground 100-year-old pipe.
Good morning. I'm making my second walk from Drayton Beecham down to Halton on the Wendover arm of the Grand Union Canal. Yep, should be a lovely walk, but it's a very cold day. And this is a canal which is in restoration. After over 100 years of disuse, the Wendover Arm Trust have been for several years now gradually restoring the whole of the canal, nearly 7 miles disused canal. Yeah, quite an achievement.
Interest in restoring the canal did not ignite until the 1980s, when the Wendover Arm Trust, WAT, was established. The canal was overgrown with hawthorn scrub, and by 1990 work was underway to clear this, which, as well as allowing the restoration, increases biodiversity. Construction started in 1997, and more than 200 volunteers became engaged in restoring the canal, contributing more than 100,000 hours to date. The canal borders Wendover Woods, a major leisure destination, skirts the Chiltern Hills and is in the Chilterns area of outstanding natural beauty. So when the Wendover Canal Trust, WCT, became the operating arm of WAT, it added to the fundamental goal of restoring the 11-kilometre canal to a fully functioning waterway. There were two other aims. The first of these was to create a major area for leisure, relaxation, health and well-being for all, and the second to improve the environment and increase biodiversity. The canal is ideal for walkers, joggers, bike riders, bird watchers, butterfly spotters, anglers, foragers and picnickers. It's near Tring's Natural History Museum.
Rothschild's Bridge.
And its towpath is on the route of both the Aylesbury Ring and Aylesbury Outer Ring paths. It also overlooks the nearby Willstone Reservoir.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but as you can see behind me, more of a tranquil stream than it is a canal, and it's certainly not working. It's only a couple of feet deep over here.
The biodiversity of the Wendover Canal continues to be significantly improved by the WCT's restoration. There's a great variety of wildlife. And a green corridor leads from Wendover all the way to Bulbourne. Our volunteers have also undertaken much landscaping and planting to provide a pocket park for general community benefit, including the planting of 1,500 trees and 1,000 daffodil bulbs, and the sowing of wildflower seeds too. In total, the canal is close to 4 canal reservoirs near Tring, which have a variety of wildlife, and hundreds of trees have been planted by WCT in the vicinity of the canal with the assistance of the Woodland Trust. The hedgerows have been improved and steps are continually taken to improve the wildlife habitat. Heritage is also a key element of this long-term project. Britain's industrial past figures prominently, with examples including the water flow gauge at Wendover, which has been recording water flows since 1844, the longest period of continuous use in the country. Whitehouse's pumping station, built in 1802, Little Tring Bridge, rebuilt in 2001, Tringford Pumping Station, a Grade II listed building dating from 1817, and the flour mill at Gamnell Bridge, and the site of Bushell Brothers Boatyard.
Yeah, it's beautiful down here now. Sun's coming up and it's getting a tad warmer. Of the 3 sections of the arms I've done, I think this section is probably the most interesting and the most varied.
Bridge number 11 marks the spot where a railway branch line once crossed over the canal. It served RAF Halton from 1917 to 1963 and was demolished in 1965, replaced by a very narrow footbridge. Must have run out of wood, or at least money, I guess. A narrow gauge railway replaced by a narrow gauge bridge. The hard graft undertaken by dedicated volunteers to bring the canal to life and eventually open it up to all has been divided into 3 phases. In phase 1, the Grand Union Canal in Bulbourne to Little Tring now has full navigation for narrowboats, following restoration work and the complete rebuilding of the bridge at Little Tring, using WCT's funds alone at a cost of £240,000. The second phase, from Little Tring to Buckland Wharf, is currently underway. The stretch used to be almost impassable and is now being transformed into a watertight, navigable canal with a fully accessible and continuous towpath with extensive biodiversity. Most recently, in the year to mid-2022, an average of 720 volunteer hours per month were worked by 58 volunteers. Around 71,000 concrete blocks have been laid in such a way that they will be below the water level, and roughly 35,000 cubic metres of soil have been taken from the canal bed, from Drayton Beecham to where the canal currently ends. The upgrade of the towpath, which in many places is often muddy and dangerous, is meanwhile progressing. And in early 2023, the entire stretch within Wendover Parish will be brought up to the high standard now enjoyed by many on the Aylesbury Canal.
End of the line. End of the canal.
The towpaths above both canals make up 80% of Buckinghamshire Council's visionary Grand Union Canal Triangle, which will benefit from further upgrades on the Aylesbury Canal in 2023. The initial aim on the Wendover Canal is to have a continuous upgraded towpath between Wendover and Halton, which will enable year-round use for walkers, runners, cyclists and those whose mobility is impaired. At the end of the canal there was once a wharf, hence the aptly named Wharf Road. Ba-bum. With the help of donations, grants and legacies, along with the sterling efforts of the restoration volunteers, a further step in the canal's restoration will be completed by 2030. This will allow smaller crafts such as rowing boats, canoes, kayaks, paddle boards and trail boats to use the waterway between Buckland and Wendover. In the future, when the canal is restored to fully navigable depth, narrowboats will be able to reach Wendover. Significantly, the entire 11 kilometres length of the canal's towpath will be continuous for the first time in over 100 years. So, there's much to be done, but the rewards for all, once this marathon project is completed, will be rich indeed.